How's the development been of the cornerbacks this spring so far?
Good. You talking about AJ and Madre, those young guys? It's been good. Curry's been kind of what he's been, improved just from being a veteran, but the young players, Madre and AJ, those guys have continued to get better. They still make mistakes, but what I like about the young group of corners is they're long, rangy, and they seem like they're going to be really physical, which will help, in our opinion, in this league with as skilled as the wideouts are on the perimeter. So they're going to take some lumps at some point during the season. Hopefully, we can bring them along enough that as we progress, once they get to the middle of the season, that we can trust them more than we would now. We may have to score a few points early though.
One of the difficult things about spring is you leave half your staff every day is probably a little bit disappointing because each day seems to be a little favored toward one side of the ball or the other. How, as a head coach, how do you look at it? And are you up there rooting for 50-50?
I would prefer to see the defense win every day, but my message to those guys in the locker room after practice is get over it. It's just the way it is in spring. On Monday, the defense kind of had their way. Last Friday, the offense had their way. The Wednesday before, the defense had their way. So it's just kind of spring ball. Sometimes coaches will go with ones versus twos instead of ones versus ones so they can feel better about it. I would prefer good versus good so they get really quality work, and then coaches have to get over it after practice.
Mike, what does Tyron Johnson do that maybe distinguishes him from your other wideouts?
One thing that I mentioned to our staff and really to the team is that so far, whenever the lights come on and we keep scoring, he makes plays. And in most team sports, there's something to be said about that. So if he continues on with that and does it throughout the August practice, if he takes care of business like he should, he's learning to adapt to our culture. He's going to get to play a lot. Now, in specifics, he seems to be very shifty at this point, and he seems to be durable and has the ability to break tackles.
Does that shiftiness and combined with the size, does it fit the mold of any of your previous receivers?
Well, he's a lot bigger than what a Josh Stewart would be. He has made some of our guys miss in practice like what Josh used to do in games, but he's bigger than Josh, so I don't know which mold he fits. I'm scared to compare him to anybody that's playing in the NFL or played in the NFL because that's somewhat unfair for him and us. But, you're talking about a guy that's 205 pounds that has the ability to make you miss and then run away from you.
You got a very young group of Cowboy backs. They're always the first group out here. Before anyone else is working, they're in a line doing drills. Is there something to that? Get an early start, get these guys really ready for some competition?
Well, we've chewed on them pretty good. They have big shoes to fill. You guys know that we couldn't have won 11 games last year without Veach and Jarwin. And we don't have a lot of experience at that position. We've got guys here that have skill they need to develop. Part of it is experience. We have Sione coming in a couple months or whenever he gets here. But they're dedicated, they're working hard, and they understand the importance of that position in our offense. I would say that's why they're out here.
It's a position that maybe attracts walk-ons or that type of guy, right? You got Britton Abbott over here. He's right with the program, guys like that. Do you have some faith in that you can get your next Blake Jarwin through that kind of group of people?
I do. And Britton Abbott's twice a player now. He wasn't this time last year. That's a position that is not going to be recruited very heavy because they're not flashy. There's not a lot of them in high school, and they need developed. They almost fall in the same category as an offensive lineman in that it's somewhat fair to bring them into the program and evaluate them short of 24 months. Let them come in, let them redshirt, let them learn, let them figure it out on the run, and that's what those guys are doing at this point. And Britton is a guy that's going to play. He's going to play considerably in the first game next year.
You guys lost two starters at linebacker, but if
look at the roster, it's almost like sneaky depth.
I think so. Yeah, it's a good call. I like our linebackers. The challenge outside of Chad will be, are we going to be physical enough inside the tackles? Fast enough? I don't think there's any question. We can run. 33 and 11, those guys can really run. Now, I don't know if they know where they're going or what direction or how to get there, but they can run fast, and that's what we have to coach them up for. You know, that's Devin and Kevin. And those guys should be exciting for us to watch over the next 3 years because they like to play. They've shown they like to play so far. They seem to be physical, and they've adapted to our culture. And with that being said, Chad's going to need a break. You know, and you're talking about Phillips. There's not a lot of talk about Phillips, but Phillips has been around and made some plays. So I would tend to agree with you. I'm not as concerned about our depth at that position as what the public's perception may be.
How much does the Macon signing sort of fit that Whitener mold up the middle, though?
He helps us, and I forgot about him. I'm glad you reminded me. It made me feel better. He's a guy that is just getting in shape right now. When he came in here, he was a long ways from being able to compete in spring ball. And so the reason I'd actually forgot about him is just in the last couple practices, he's starting to show up. And we need him to do that to give Chad a break. But he has made some plays here in the last couple practices. The first 5 or 6, he was so out of shape that he wasn't a factor.
You mentioned Madre Harper as one of the young quarterbacks. First time he touches the ball in a college game, he scores a touchdown.
Right.
Pretty amazing moment. What was going through your head when you saw that last
Oh, I didn't know who it was because it was on the other side of the field for me, and then I saw him come off, and I thought the same thing you did, that it's pretty amazing that first time that you ever touch a ball at this level, much less being a true freshman, you score a touchdown and being a defensive player. I don't know what the odds were what that have been if, like, on Super Bowl Sunday, you have all those odds, you know?
Yeah.
You could have made some good money on that one. But I'm hoping what I see from Madre will come true, and that is he's around the ball all the time. He seems to have a little bit of an edge to him, and that's good for a defensive player. So we're encouraged. He just is, not sure where to be all the time and what direction he's going.
The value of being an early enrollee, too. This is his second spring.
No
That's probably
question.
something that helps him when we were talking about these corners, right?
Gets him a little bit further ahead of Rodarius and AJ,
Yeah.
just because he's been here an extra spring. But all 3 of those guys are long and rangy, and they're going to be pretty big for corners.
You mentioned them being long and rangy. Was that something you guys in recruiting have decided to kind of, you want bigger corners?
You have to get, 1, you got to find guys that can play. 2, you got to find guys that'll fit into our culture. And then if they're long and rangy, it's an advantage. It's a 6'3" receiver over 5'11" guy. You would always take the bigger player, but then again, he's got to be productive.
And a former walk-on, Nathan Gillslider, won a national bobsled championship. Did anyone tell you about that, or were you aware of that?
I've not heard that.
Nathan Gillslider, remember him? He was a
Yes,
walk-on.
yes.
What do you remember about his year? He went on to be a bobsledder. He's competing with the national team.
I didn't know that.
It's pretty wild, huh?
Yeah, I mean, how do you come from football to bobsledding? That's pretty cool. So he's competing with them now for trying for the Olympics?
Yeah,
is that it?
then this next year's cycle will get ready for the next cycle.
Now, but he hasn't made the team yet.
Well, he's on the national team.
He won like the U.S. championship.
Yeah, as long as he places in the top 2 next year, he could be on his way.
Okay, so is he in the 2-man or the 4-man?
2-man.
2-man.
2-man? That's cool.
Yeah,
I need
2-man,
to-
and they won the championship.
So is he in
this year.
Colorado Springs?
Lake Placid.
Oh, he's in Lake
Placid.
Placid training. I need to put something out on Twitter for him. That's pretty cool.
What do you remember about his time here?
Well, he was just one of the walk-ons. I mean, I don't remember a lot. He was a good kid, worked hard. This wasn't for him at this level, which happens to kids. But most of the young men that are in this program are really good kids, and sometimes football doesn't work out for him, and so it doesn't surprise me that he's doing that. But I will say that bobsled's the first time for us. That's pretty cool.
What would it take you to get into a bobsled? You'd be
I'll do it.
talking-
I'll do a bobsled. Yeah, I would like to do a luge.
Okay.
I'd like to do that one time. The bobsled, I don't know that it would be as fun because you have to duck your head and you don't get to watch.
Yeah, that's
But on
true.
the luge, at least you get to watch. That'd be pretty cool.
Any rattlesnake updates?
No, I'm gonna go at the end of the month.
Okay. That's what I figured.
But I did find out that we had a streak here a while back where there was 2 or 3 hot days, and there was quite a few of them out there.
You keep up with those guys out there?
Well, nothing other than they let a friend of mine know. They just had passed the word on there were some big ones out, and so that kind of fired me up.